Red team, go! My amplified unit! We are somewhere in the middle of New England. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, and it feels like it's 72 degrees below zero. Slight exaggeration. And here BC is about to review a show that strips away our intelligence, rips away our souls, and leaves us all in a pit of misery. Yeah, that show is called Monday Night Raw, and last night may have just been the worst of the entire fucking year. This is the Raw review for December the 20th, 2021. Let's get amplified. We start this show, hour number one, MVP and Lashley. They start this show middle of the ring. Big E hits the ring, pissed off from last week. Of course, MVP taking out his knee and Lashley picking up the scraps and taking the victory, entering himself into that fatal four-way at day one. So, of course, Big E, you would think naturally is pissed off, right? But he's not that pissed. He's basically smiling and he's having a nice little dinner conversation in there with Lashley and MVP. In fact, Lashley makes a match or some odd fight between his own manager, MVP, and Big E. I guess this is to elude that he doesn't need MVP. I mean, he told Big E, I would have beaten you with or without MVP's help. But in what reality would this ever happen? And this is not believable, right? Ravishing Rick Rude would not throw Bobby the Brain Heenan in this weird confrontation with one of his foes. You wouldn't see Jimmy Hart being thrusted into this confrontation by Rhythm and Blues, the Honky Tonk Man, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. No, they wouldn't do that to Jimmy Hart. Why would Bobby Lashley just watch his manager get beat up by Big E? In fact, that's what Lashley was gonna do. He went to the outside. He says, I'm gonna be right over here watching this. So they're teasing this breakup yet again, but we just saw Bobby Lashley break up from the Hurt Business just a few months ago. Cedric and Shelton got the raw end of that deal. They went right back into the pit of obscurity. But why are we already seeing more friction with Bobby and MVP? We already saw this same storyline play out a couple months ago. Here we are again, and Bobby already has more friction with MVP? You can't keep teasing this. You can't keep resting on this. Eventually, even your dumbest of fans will catch on. Didn't we see this before? But here's Lashley. He's on the outside. He's going to watch his manager MVP get beat up by Big E. Awesome. But the second Lashley gets out there, he is immediately jumped by Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Now here's where it gets even more stupid. Stick with me here, unit. Listen to this, and I want you to think about it, all right? So you have Owens and Rollins taking out Lashley on the outside. This is a guy who weaseled his way to a victory last week when MVP took out Big E's leg, and Lashley picked up the scraps, weaseled his way over into that victory and into the day one match. Okay, that's enough reason to be pissed off at Lashley. But now Lashley is making you take on his manager, who is a former wrestler, by the way. I get it. So now Big E has to fight his manager. Lashley is making this confrontation. So Lashley at this point is a big thorn in Big E's side, or so you would think. But the second Owens and Rollins jump Lashley on the outside, Big E leaves the ring where he could have gotten the ultimate revenge on MVP, again for the third time. He's the guy who hit his leg, nailed it with his cane, and allowed Bobby Lashley to pick up the victory last week. Well, here's the ultimate revenge. Lashley's not going to interfere because he's getting his just due on the outside. He's getting what he was owed, an ass whooping. And now you get to get your revenge on the inside with MVP, right? It makes sense. And if it makes sense, WWE is probably going to go the opposite way. And that's what they did. Big E immediately leaves the ring. He doesn't want the ultimate revenge. Instead, he decides to help Bob Lashley. Well, what the fuck? On what realm, on what planet does that make sense? None of it makes sense, Amp Unit. That's the problem. Why is Lashley turning on MVP again? So soon when we already saw it in 2021 before. Because that's what he did. And why is Big E saving Lashley when they did him dirty just last week and this week? Oh, I'll tell you why, Unit. It's WWE's logic. Let's do a nonsensical tag match. Rollins and Owens versus Lashley and Big E later in the night in the main event. Lashley and Big E. I could see Owens tagging up with Rollins maybe, right? He's been playing more of the heel. He's been 60-40. At any moment, you could believe that Owens is helping a face out. He hasn't had that definitive heel moment. He beat the shit out of Big E when we thought, oh, that was it. That's the heel turn. But ever since, he's been kind of playing that middle dude. You're even laughing at him, right? Him and Rollins are a funny unit trying to get Bobby Lashley out of the match. But he hasn't had that definitive moment. So you're still waiting on that. Until he has the definitive moment, you can't really call him a full throttle heel. So I could see maybe that's going to work one way or the other with them tagging up. But on the flip side, they're just throwing Lashley and Big E in there because they back themselves into a corner. They're in a pickle. They have no other option. They realize they potentially, if they go full throttle heel with Owens, they have 3 heels and 1 fucking face. And the problem with Owens is you've already leaned him 60-40. He's already in the direction of more of a heel than a face. So you're going to have to work double time, double as hard to make Owens a face again. So they thought Lashley was the only viable fucking option. Sure as hell wasn't going to be Seth Rollins with that obnoxious character. And I love it, by the way. But it's obnoxious. He's not going to be a good face with that character. So they honestly said, hey, what about Lashley? What about if we turn him face? We'll just out of nowhere. Even though it looked like he was working so well with MVP last week, out of nowhere, we're gonna tease dissension within the ranks. Out of nowhere, we're gonna break up MVP and Lashley, and out of nowhere, we're gonna make Lashley turn face. Because that's basically what you did last night. When the main event was all said and done, the double turn was completed. One dude was a full throttle heel, the other dude was a full throttle face. That's what I'm witnessing. We're going to talk more about it. I'm going to tell you exactly how this went down in that main event. But this set it up. Lashley and Big E. The match itself doesn't make sense. So right from the jump, BC is tuned out of this, checked out of this. No care, no passion, no amplification for any of this. And that doesn't bode well for the rest of the show when I see this many logic gaps from the jump. Common sense not being issued. In fact, stupidity being sent out to all of us at an alarming rate. We'll get to that main event in just a little bit where it just went off the rails even more so. But Bianca Belair versus the Drop of Dew is your first match of the night. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. Bianca Belair versus the Drop of Dew. Not just a rematch, of course, but a match we've seen 847 times, and that's just in the last 4 weeks. That's right. Think about that Steiner math for a second. Could you imagine your favorite TV show just replaying the same episode every fucking week? You'd say, what the fuck? Oh, but we're not allowed to say what the fuck about WWE because they're trying their best, basically. It's hard to book TV every week, basically. Stop. Just stop, will you? Like, honestly, get a clue, get a grip, bro. I'm not asking for captivating television like Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, The Walking Dead, The Ozarks. I'm just asking for the bare minimum. Fresh ideas. Some new shit. Not the same match 4 weeks in a row. Bare minimum. Don't even get me started on the Usos versus the New Day from SmackDown. A match we saw last week, a match we saw this past week, a match we'll probably get again in a Christmas street fight this week, and a match we know we're gonna get at the Day 1 pay-per-view again. And if it was just 4 weeks in a row for the Usos and the New Day, that's bad enough. But when you say they've already faced each other 1,647 times in the past 10 years alone, bro, it's it. We can't see the New Day and the Usos anymore. It doesn't even matter if they have good matches. We've already seen it 1,647 times. I now know what they're going to do in that ring together before they even know what they're doing. It's just the truth, bro. How many times can you see a match over and over and over? And this is supposedly just 2 months removed from what was supposed to be a draft shakeup. What is being shaken up? Did you just add a couple of pieces to the puzzle? And now we're just going to get those matches non-stop until the next shakeup? You know, this is not how you tell a story, bro. This is not how you tell a story. Because somebody's going to say, Lashley, that's just a storyline, man. They're in matches. And one person will lose, and then another will win, and then the other will lose, and there's going to be all this animosity. Each match will be topping the other one, basically, hopefully. Well, did this match top the others? Is that what this did? Because this was a decent match. It was nothing overly good. It was nothing overly bad. It was decent. Bianca Belair and Piper Niven are good wrestlers. I don't doubt they could put on a decent match. Where's the care? When you see a match so many times, unless it's just the fucking sheep who will take anything Vince McMahon is going to dish out and they'll love it. But if it's people that actually remember, I'm not even talking just a year ago, 2 months ago, last month, last week, 2 weeks ago, right? Even people with short-term memory, brah. How are you not fed up with this? This was a decent match. The finish was the most impressive thing here. Bianca lifts the drop of dew up into a KOD and holds it for a good 5 seconds. And drops the dew for the pinfall victory. Now, I do want you to think about that for a second. Bianca Belair lifted up the drop of dew for fucking 5 seconds. She didn't actually hit KOD. I mean, she just kind of face planted Piper Niven. But, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was the bulk of what the KOD is. She hits that a lot better. But at least she actually flipped her. There was a moment where BC said, shit, this woman is landing on her head. But no, man, the strength of Bianca Belair is so immense. She was able to hold her for 5 seconds and then totally flip that gal. So Bianca gets the W. And before the match, Michael Cole was billing this up as the final battle between the two. It's funny how they had to say that, right? Because people were going to start to think, even the sheep, were going to go, I feel like I've seen this a few times. You think, Jerry? Do you think, Timmy? I would think so, brah. You've seen it just a few times. That is an accurate thought in your little fucking peanut dome piece. The final battle. And that's my ass, bro. We've heard the final battle before. We've heard it with the Usos in the New Day. We've heard it with Cesaro and Sheamus. We've heard it with Shinsuke and Baron Corbin. We've heard it with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. We've heard final battle, and then they come back for another final battle, and another, and a final battle, and then an almost final battle, right? Almost superhero joins the fray. So we'll see. We'll see if this is a final battle. Maybe they do keep them away from each other for an entire month. Wouldn't that be incredible for WW? Moving on, man. I could harp on all of this for an hour. Every segment I could harp on for an hour, but we gotta move on, man. For all of our sanity. Finn Balor then defeats Austin Theory in a 7-minute match. I want to say that again. Finn Balor defeated Austin Theory in a 7-minute match. If I can tap into my inner Max Caster for a second. Yo, listen. Balor needed a victory, no doubt. Good for that dude. But what's the point of building Theory up the last month plus for a 7-minute nonsensical loss in the middle of a Monday Night Raw? Oh, let me guess. We're gonna get this match again, and again, and again, and again. Storyline, Lashley. It's all a storyline. The story is they have a match all the time? Is that really the fucking story? Is that a story that you're really willing to get behind? You're excited that they're gonna have another match and another match? And it's all gonna culminate at another match at a pay-per-view? You have to now pay to see them wrestle for the 10th time? And that excites you, doesn't it? And you'll defend this bullshit and you'll say it's storyline. People need to relax. I don't need to see them actually wrestle matches. You have to actually have a story and then we see the match at a pay-per-view. That's how it used to work. Nowadays, nobody gives a fuck, so we just see the match 100 times. And then we go to the pay-per-view to get it again. So the story is that they have a match all the time. Okay, thanks dumb fuck Dotson for letting me know what I was missing. Now I can enjoy this much, much more. Theory drops a 7-minute match. Awesome. Just awesome. And speaking of awesome, Miz TV is up next with guests AJ Styles and Omos. Now Miz plants the seeds to set a wedge between Styles and Omos, and automatically BC is fully on board with this. You see, Miz and Omos working together makes so much more sense because they will actually benefit from one another. Omos was zero benefit to Styles. Which leads me to the main reason I'm on board with this, because AJ Styles can finally get away from that 7'3", 355... 55? He's billed as 400 actually. His actual weight was 335, and I'm giving him 355? Either way, Styles, whatever the fuck this dude weighs, 75-pound inconsistency from his build weight to his actual weight. But I'll give him 355. This 7'3", 355 anchor known as Omos. Styles can finally get away from this son of a bitch. And before Styles can confront Omos on what Miz was saying about their relationship, that Omos doesn't want to be with Styles anymore, he's just bringing him down. He's been bringing him down since day one. Miz is really driving that wedge. But before Styles can confront Omos, the Mysterios hit the ring. We go immediately to break. When we come back from break, we have the Mysterios versus Styles and Omos. Match time clocked in at roughly 4 minutes. Styles goes for a tag, but Omos turns away, refusing the tag. This seems to be the final nail in that tag team coffin, and I am so on board with finally splitting them up. Styles is shocked. What? You turned away from my tag? Omos doesn't want to hear any of it. Literally not even looking at Styles. Styles is then hit by the most thunderous maneuver in pro wrestling, the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating roll up. That's right. The Mysterios get the pinfall victory over AJ Styles via the fruit roll-up. One of the best wrestlers in the world gets rolled up, and he can't kick out of a roll-up. No finisher was put on him. No signature move was put on him. This was just a roll-up. Basically, he was shocked what Omos just did, and the shock made him basically paralyzed to the point where he couldn't get his shoulders up. Is that really what you're trying to sell BC on? One of the best wrestlers in the world could not get his shoulder a centimeter off the fucking mat. I hate the roll-up with a passion. With an amplification, I can't stand the roll-up. I tell you what I love, though. The fact that we're finally splitting this fucking team up because they were never really a team. Styles never should have been with this dude. He is more fit for somebody like The Miz. That's where Omos should have been. Not tied to the hip of one of the best wrestlers in the world just so we could train Omos better. And by the way, didn't even work. Omos is probably 6% better than what he was. Maybe, if we're lucky, he'll be a little better than, I don't know, Kali? Bastion Booger? Post-match, Styles starts throwing bows on Omos. He doesn't just talk shit. Styles is so pissed, he starts throwing fucking bows on Omos, bro. Omos shakes it off and drops Styles. I think there was even a choke slam maybe from the top rope. And they just drop Styles, man. He gets on the mic and he says, "Next time you see me, it'll be in a match." And BC's like, fuck, it's about time. About time, bro. Let's do this once and for all. The only thing that I'm kind of taken back by here is that they're probably, knowing Vince McMahon, he's going to go with the big dude and not the best wrestler in the world, one of them. And he's going to have Omos because he's going to feel Omos needs more momentum than Styles. So he's probably going to have Omos take the victory here, man. I mean, he could use them, I guess, if you're going to make him something big. And realistically, if we're supposed to care about him, he's going to need victories, no doubt. I just hate to see it come at the expense of AJ motherfucking Styles. They better have a big rebounding plan and process in store for Styles if he loses to Omos. And I believe that's going to be day one. And this company has never given us any inkling that they're capable of giving somebody a long-term awesome plan. So I have my reservations about this, but beggars can't be choosers. Baby steps. Break them up first. Let Styles go into 2022 in a singles competitor mode. No more of this tag shit. No more holding the hand of somebody who is 6% of his talent. At best. Styles and Omos finally break up, man. Randy Orton versus Chad Gable is next. This was a 3-minute match. That's right. Another really good wrestler. Chad Gable, another 3-minute match. I'm surprised they gave him more than 2 minutes, actually. I couldn't believe it. With the 3 minutes, I was like, what the fuck? Did somebody botch in the back? Time management issues? They gave Gable more than 2 minutes? Orton defeats Gable with the RKO in 3 minutes. Corey Graves was hilarious. He says Orton wasn't, but he didn't mean to be. He was being serious. Corey Graves literally said Orton wasn't used to being taken as far as Chad just took him. How far is that, Corey? 3 fucking minutes? Oh yeah, we've never seen Orton go 3 minutes with anyone before. I tell you, man. They don't think people are actually listening. We're listening, right? We want to believe in this shit. We want some realism. If you're going to say bullshit, man, it's like Michael Cole. Was it Friday? When he said the Viking Raiders versus Jinder Mahal and Stanky. He said that this is such an important tag match. And it's like, well, you didn't book any of these dudes as important throughout 2021. So how the fuck is this going to be important to the fans? What do you mean this is important? To who? For a nonsensical fucking actually dead tag division? It's not just irrelevant, it's non-existent. I tell you, man. Reggie and Dana Brooke are then walking through a Christmas tree park. This is a true story, man. Last week, the dog park. This week, it's the fucking tree park. R-Truth is dressed up as Santa Claus. I seriously wish I was making this up just for entertainment value for you guys. I know a lot of you guys don't watch the show. You just tune into BC's review. You hear me flip the fuck out, and you're more entertained than the show would have given you. But this actually happened, man. Reggie and Dana Brooke walking through a Christmas tree park. Bunch of Christmas trees. They got a nighttime setting. All the lights are glowing. It's like a fucking romantic date, right? Like a fucking Hallmark movie. There's Reggie and Dana Brooke. R-Truth dressed up as Santa Claus. And Ninja Tozawa dressed up as an elf. An elf! Ninja Tozawa as a fucking elf. And both are chasing Dana Brooke. Oh, and check this out. Tamina comes out of nowhere and actually botches a fruit roll-up on Dana Brooke. It was hilarious, man. She tries for a roll-up and Brooke completely 360s onto her feet. Leave it to Tamina to fuck up a roll-up. Oh, fuck. Now, of course, this was scripted as such. I think Dana was absolutely supposed to kick out of that, obviously, because there was more to the segment. So it wasn't like a natural botch. BC just thought it was funny as hell that they actually had Tamina fuck that up. Like, they actually scripted that because that's the one thing on the show that would actually make sense. We're going to get to the point where people are actually fucking up roll-ups. And you can't blame them. Half of these people taking roll-ups these days are big dudes, either big muscles or just big dudes, and if they move any little bit, they're going to accidentally kick out of the roll-up. They're going to get their shoulder up. So they have to play dead, basically. So no finisher is performed to them. No, I just said that about Eddie Kingston on AEW, Rampage last Friday? When Eddie Kingston took a fucking roll-up, I think it was from Daniel Garcia, a dude fucking half his size, basically. And Kingston, it wasn't a signature move, it wasn't a finisher, it was just a roll-up. And Kingston had to play dead because he knew if he moved a muscle, he was going to accidentally kick out. And we're seeing that all too often, man. We're seeing dudes like fucking Omos. That size, T-bars and maces, they're taking roll-ups and they have to play dead. And they never even took a move. So you're going to see a lot of botches in the future, man, because they're getting carried away with this roll-up shit. I just thought it was funny how they scripted a Tamina fuck-up, a Tamina botch on a roll-up. She's the only person I saw not hit a roll-up in this whole 24/7 bullshit chase that started years ago. And then Dana beats up Tamina. That's right. Dana Brooke beats the hell out of Tamina. Left and right kicks, man. Left kick, right kick, left. You think Ninja Tozawa and Reggie are teaching her how to fucking fight. And I guess that's the story, right? Hanging around Reggie, she's going to learn all these moves. So she's throwing lefts and right kicks, and Tamina is basically fucking beaten up by Dana. And then Dana Brooke runs off before she can get an accurate roll-up by Tamina. What are we doing with this shit, guy? Honestly, what are we doing with this shit? Nobody knows. WWE surely doesn't. Last week, it's the dog park. This week, it's the Christmas tree park. Next week, it'll be an amusement park, right? There'll be a fruit roll-up on the teacups at Walt Disney World. Look over there in the fucking river of the Pirates of Caribbean. It's Dana Brooke getting rolled up. What's happening? Everybody's gathering around. Look at the top of Space Mountain. Something's happening. Oh no, it's just Dana Brooke getting rolled up. On the top of Space Mountain. Ric Flair is yelling at him, can I have some privacy? Shut up there. Woo! Ric Flair and Space Mountain, man. But we joke. But where does this... I mean, you name a park, they're gonna fucking be there, man. They're gonna be at a fucking nudie park, right? Everyone's gonna be fucking butt-ass naked. Tamina's chasing down Dana Brooke. We joke, but this is where when they actually attempt to use creativity and get out of the ring, and they're gonna go out into the world, and they're gonna start filming. They're gonna get permits. They're gonna have the cops helping them out to keep people back. There's a lot of effort that goes into that. On a show that never really shows effort, creativity, they're wasting it all on the 24/7 bullshit. And it's not working, man. It's not funny. They could be using that for real storylines. I bring it up all the time. Booker T, Stone Cold in the supermarket. Yeah, that was absurd, but it served a purpose. That was the feud with Booker and Stone Cold at the time, something we gave a fuck about. So if you're going to go out in the world and have a fight in the supermarket, that's what you would do. That's something we'll always fucking remember. They didn't waste it on the 24/7 championship. You didn't see fucking the catering crusaders chasing around Dana Brooke in a supermarket. Right? A fucking roll-up in aisle 11. Oh, he hit him with the Chex cereal. Oh, Cheerios to the dome piece. The box of Twinkies to the knee. And a roll-up to suffice. No, bro. You wouldn't do it back in the day. Why are we doing it now? Cut the shit. If you're going to go outside the ring and out in the world, let's make something awesome, man. Let's create something, a story. Let's kickstart a storyline. Let's make it a real feud and not this comedy bullshit. If you caught my review last week, I gave you a prime example of what I would have done with Finn Balor and Austin Theory instead of the 24/7 title dog park segment. I would have had Finn Balor walking the park doing a WWE documentary and doing a candid interview, a real intimate interview with Balor. And Austin Theory shows up in this park. And I told you guys how I would book that. That's what you want to do in those segments. If you're going to get the permits and have law enforcement on your side and go through all the effort to do this shit on the outside, in the outside world, make it fun, make it intriguing, make it captivating, and make it memorable. None of this will ever be. We then get a number one contenders match for the U.S. Championship. Damian Priest versus Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler gets a number one contenders match. This isn't even shade to Dolph. This is just realism, man. This is believability not being put in play. Dolph Ziggler gets a number one. How? Why? BC's the only one asking these questions? Well, BC is going to drop a staggering fact. How's that? A staggering statistic because BC's a numbers guy. You know that. You ready for this? Dolph Ziggler has not had a singles victory since May 7th. May 7th against Dominic Mysterio. That is 8 months ago. Was the last time Dolph won a match one-on-one. 8 months ago, May 7th. And even if you include the tag team matches with him and Bob Roode, the Dirty Dogs, even if you include tag matches, Dolph Ziggler is 3-40 in his last 43 matches. That is 3 victories and 40 losses. But I'm supposed to sit back and just enjoy it, right? Just be entertained, BC. I'm supposed to lower my bar to stupid Steve standards? Nah, make it make sense. Priest, of course, loses because it's a contenders match. This is just WWE's way of saying we have no creative way to get this story to a pay-per-view. We don't even have a story. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them wrestle. We're going to have the champion get beat. And then we'll do the same match at the pay-per-view. Boop! There's their story. What do you mean we didn't try to create a story? Yes, we did. They faced each other and the champion lost. There's the story. So Damian fucking Priest, who's been being booked pretty properly, I thought, the past several months. No, we're just going to have him lose. This was a count out. They're going to try to make him save face, right? We're going to protect Damian by having it be a count out. Right? Bob Roode will be out there. Priest loses via count out. Dolph Ziggler is now your number 1 contender with no effort being put into Dolph looking like a number 1 contender. Nothing. They plucked him, his last singles victory from May 7th, and they're like, you're a good candidate for it. Your record shows. People will believe you're in line for it. How do you get a number 1 contenders match around here? You just gotta lose every fucking match for 8 months? Before someone goes, wow, you lose a lot of matches, you deserve a title shot. Because that's what you're asking BC to believe, right? I mean, I'm the only channel that's gonna drop facts like this. There's people maybe like BC, they'll yell, they'll scream, they'll fucking hoot and holler. But nobody's got facts like this that'll make you go, damn, this guy just yells a lot and he seems really negative with these shows, but he's dropping one fact after another. Yeah, that's BC for you. Dolph Ziggler. I'm the only one asking these questions and dropping these facts. Cutting Edge starts hour number 3. Edge's guest Maurice. Maurice gives a sob story about how mean The Miz is lately and how hard her life has been. Edge isn't buying it and tells her to basically cut the shit. He knows this is just a plan to let his guard down so Miz can attack, and sure enough, Miz attacks. Edge takes him out, but Maurice catapults her purse at his dome piece. I think it was her purse. May have been a heel or a boot. But I think it was her fucking purse. Knocks Edge upside her dome piece. That's enough of a distraction to allow Miz to hit the skull-crushing finale on Edge. Miz and Maurice celebrate their plan being successful, and all BC is thinking at this point is, here comes the Phoenix. I think this is the perfect setup. Starting next week, or maybe they wait till day 1 and they do this mixed tag match at the Royal Rumble. But Beth Phoenix looks to be on her way, man. And listen, on a fucking shitty 3-hour show every week, I am definitely okay with seeing this mixed tag match, man. This is the least of my worries. It's the least of my complaints. It'll be great to see Beth back in there for another WWE match, quite possibly her last one. I'm on board, man. I always like seeing Maurice with Miz as well, man. I think that's the best version of Miz when he is with Maurice. If you're going to add Omos, and Omos is now going to be with fucking Miz, I think that's a lot better for all of us and them than Omos tied to the hip of Styles. So I'm seeing a lot more better than worse with this whole Edge and Miz shit, man. And everything Edge does is usually gold anyway. So I'm definitely willing to be down for this ride, man, and see where it goes. But don't be shocked if Beth Phoenix, within the next couple of weeks, man, ends up showing back up on that main roster. She did end her duties with NXT too, so that leads a lot of people to believe she is training harder and going to be making that main roster re-debut. We'll see, brother. Oh boy, here we go. Rhea Ripley versus Queen Zelina Vega again. Why? When I saw Rhea come down, I'm like, no, tell me they're not doing Zelina, because Zelina beat her last week and let it be. Rebuild Rhea immediately in another facet, another form, another way. But Zelina, that is a big victory for her. Zelina Vega's been on a winning streak. Zelina Vega has a crown. She won a tournament. Zelina Vega is a champion. She won the tag championships with Carmella. She's on a winning streak. She's being booked properly. Her entrance is actually really fucking good. She's talking shit now, and when she gets pissed off, she exits the royal speech, and she goes into that Queen's girl, and the music stops, and then she thinks about it, and she goes back into her royal speech, and that's when the music picks back up. Everything with Queen Zelina has been, I can't believe I'm saying this about a WWE wrestler, but nearly flawless. She beat Ripley last week. Whether you think that's a right decision because it doesn't do Ripley any good or not, I hear you. But the answer isn't to have them face each other again and do 50-50 booking. So I was like, please, do not have Zelina come out. Do not have Zelina come out. Sure enough, here comes Queen Zelina Vega. And I knew what was going to happen here. I knew this was going to be 50-50 booking. Zelina just pinned her last week. This week, it was a 2-minute match. That's right, 2-minute match. And Ripley wins with a riptide. How does this make any of them look good? It's rhetorical. It doesn't. Just watching them have a bunch of rematches and trading wins and losses, it's bullshit. Nobody will remember any of it, and I'm pretty sure that's what Vince is banking on. But when that happens, nobody can truly be built properly. You were just booking Zelina flawlessly as of late. Was this needed, Vince? Of course not! How many times are we going to see this match? The shake-up draft was just 2 months ago, and we're already getting an entire show of rematches. It's unacceptable. It is pathetic. I'm going to move on before I spend an hour on that fucking match alone. Obnoxious that anybody would think this is okay. We'll stick with the ladies for a second here. Liv Morgan cuts a promo middle of the ring on Becky Lynch. Even shows footage of Liv herself showing up to Seth Rollins' school where they train their wrestlers. Becky also helps out. And she was looking for Becky. She found somebody that looked like Becky and put a kendo stick on her. Ended up not being Becky. Becky knew she was coming, I guess is the story they're trying to tell. So Becky showed up behind Liv and they started brawling at Seth Rollins' school. Okay. Then we come back to the ring and Liv is like, I came there for Becky, but I didn't get her. I ended up beating up someone that looked like her, one of her students. And while I feel bad for the student, I can't tell you how good it felt to think that could have been Becky. It was kind of odd. I like Liv. It wasn't the best promo for sure, but I like Liv, so I'm pulling for her, man. I'm glad she's getting this push. I think she'll get better over time on the mic as well. She's definitely not there yet. That was a pretty long promo for her to cut. I would have taken a bit more baby steps, maybe a 2-minute promo, and then have Becky come out. That was a long promo. But Becky does end up hitting the ramp, and we have a little bit of a back and forth between the two before Becky says, well, it was pretty cool, actually. Liv has the kendo stick middle of the ring, the same one that she brought to Seth Rollins' school. And Becky says, you think I'm going to go in there with you and that kendo stick, and that's your plan? And and Liv Morgan goes, this kendo stick isn't for me. This kendo stick is for you. And she throws it over to Becky. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Becky goes, you're lucky I got a private jet to catch. And she storms off in her big fur jacket, fur coat. So the end of all this, I actually didn't mind. I thought the setup was way too long with no real impactful delivery at the end. If that was going to be your finish, which I'm okay with, let's shorten that down just a little bit. I just felt like they had nowhere to go at the end. So they're just like, say you got a private jet and take off. I'm okay with that, but it would have to be a much shorter segment. I mean, the promo by Liv, by then the crowd was already like, where are we going with this? So, but I think she'll definitely get better over time too. And again, we're all pulling for Liv Morgan, man. This is a push that's been long overdue. A push that Ruby Riott, one of her good friends, never really got. So it's good that Liv is finally getting that. And you know that she's wrestling for and getting this push, and she's thinking about Ruby the whole time too, man. And Sarah Logan too, man, her sisters. So We'll see what that, I'm not going to be too hard on that, man. We'll see where it goes. After what happened with Ripley and fucking Vega, trust me, that's going to get shit on way more than Morgan and Becky at this point. The main event, Bobby Lashley and Big E. There's a fucking team. Put your face with the fucking heel. Versus Rollins and Owens. This was a 12-minute match with 2 commercial breaks. Not once was BC into this match. Not once did I care. None of this means anything. Lashley spears Owens and pins Owens for the W. How's that new contract treating you, Kev? Post-match, Owens and Rollins destroy Lashley. Typical McMahon, hoping that we'll forget that they just lost. Right? Owens and Rollins just lost this fucking match. Owens took a clean fucking pin. At least it wasn't a roll-up. And now they're beating the shit out of Bob Lashley. We're going to forget about it, right? It doesn't even matter who won. Because now Owens and Rollins look like the beasts. Owens and Rollins then embrace, man. They first handshake, and you feel they're going to turn, right? You feel like either Seth is going to jump Owens or Owens is going to take out Rollins and get that face pop, right? Because, again, I'll say this just like I said at the top of the program, Owens has been playing more of the heel, but he's not a definitive heel up until last night. He could go either way. With his contract up in the air, nobody knew what they were doing with Owens, and he was kind of playing like a middleman, leaning more toward heel without the definitive heel moment. Again, he took out Big E, and we thought, oh, that's it, he turned heel. And then afterwards, he was kind of still playing the middleman. He didn't give you that fuck you to the fans moment until last night, so you never knew. And then we heard he signed with WWE. I knew this for over a month now. But the wrestling world found out that he signed with WWE, and all of a sudden they went full throttle with the heel turn last night because they shake hands. You think somebody's going to turn on the other, but no, they come back. You think they're going to start throwing bows, and they embrace in a huge hug. And the crowd just moans and grunts. No, Kev. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in just a massive embrace, middle of the ring. And Owens looks at the crowd and he starts taunting them. That was the fuck you moment to the fans I was waiting for. That was the moment. The big hug, yes, that's the definitive heel moment. But the fuck you to the fans is what I was waiting for. That's the heel. Now you're a heel Owens. There's no going back now. There's no more 50-50 or even 60-40. Even if you thought he was 70-30 already a heel. Now he's a definitive heel. And at the same time that you destroyed Bobby Lashley, this is in the same show that Lashley is basically saying he doesn't need MVP. MVP, even when MVP was thrown to the Wolves, thrown to Big E in the first segment of the night, later in the night, MVP was trying to apologize, say everything all right, champ. Everything all right, Bobby. And Bobby's like, I just need some water. I need to hydrate. Go get me some water. He just didn't want to be around MVP. So you already saw them kind of breaking up. Or just this divide, this tension between the two. Out of nowhere, by the way. They've been fine for weeks. But this is WWE. They just come with a decision that makes no sense. And then they do stupid, nonsensical shit that doesn't look right. Doesn't feel right. Because it's out of the blue. It's not shock in the good way. It's shock like, what the fuck are they doing, these idiots? So you plant the seed there with the breakup with MVP, and then all of a sudden they get destroyed by these dastardly heels that just embraced and formed this union. And now Lashley is going to play the face with Big E, and that's what you're going to go into day one. So now we can't say 3 heels and 1 face. No, now Vince is going to say, nuh-uh, 2 faces. See, Lashley's like the face now. Why the fuck are you putting Bob Lashley, this beast, this monster, as a fucking face? I'll tell you why. It's because Vince doesn't know how to book him. Or he does, but he refuses to book him correctly. So this beast, this monster, or at least should be viewed as such, is booked like another average schmuck. A mid-carder. And now he's gonna get the fucking Kane Big Show treatment, where they turn face and heel 117 times because they don't know which way to go with him. So whichever way the wind is blowing on the morning that Vince McMahon wakes up, that's where he's going to send Bobby Lashley. Oh shit, the wind's blowing to the right. Looks like we'll turn him face today. And Bobby Lashley will be ruined in the process. Do you honestly think Bobby Lashley turning face is going to save this dude's booking and career? It's fucking pathetic. And I'm high on Bobby Lashley. So that's why I get extra pissed off. Because to book Bobby Lashley as a beast and a monster, which he should be, it's very simplistic. It doesn't take a lot of work. It just takes effort. It takes want to be doing that for Bobby. Helping Bobby out with the right shit. No, they refuse to do that. And now Bobby looks like a fucking idiot now. And now he's going to be a face with Big E. Now we have face Bobby Lashley without an MVP? Is that what we're going to go with going forward? Oh, this is going to be a hoot! A fucking hoot! This is going to be amazing. Bobby's going to go to the stratosphere. Hulk Hogan status, Steve Austin status, or maybe not so much. The double turn basically was put. Kevin Owens is now a definitive heel, no more question marks, and Bobby Lashley looks to be playing the face, at least going into day one with Big E. So that's a double turn, the classic double turn in pro wrestling. The definition is one dude turns heel, the other dude turns face, and it's a double switch. You kind of saw that with Steve Austin. There's many ways to do double turns. You saw it with Steve Austin and Bret Hart at WrestleMania, I believe it was. Or was that the Survivor Series, man? I think it was WrestleMania. Either way, Bret Hart basically turned heel, and in the same match, Stone Cold became the face. There's many different ways you could do it, but in that one match, with that embrace with Seth Rollins and the fuck you to the fans moment, Owens is now a definitive heel. And Bobby Lashley looks to be playing the face, especially with Big E saving him for the last 2 weeks. Even though the story, in quotes, doesn't suffice that. It doesn't make sense. But none of it makes sense. It's WWE. And now we have a double turn that is absolutely fucking mind-bogglingly stupid. If you haven't already put your don't piece through the nearest brick wall, and you made it through the entire video, you guys rock, man. My amp unit. Until next time, much love and respect. Think, be, live, amped always. For now, check you later.